Hello littles, I'm Amma. Why don't you put on your softies and join me for a story? I have my hot chocolate and my storybooks all ready to go. So let's begin. Hello littles, today we are going to read There is a Difference by Hans Christian Andersen. It was in the month of May. The wind still blew cold, but the bushes and trees and field and meadow told that spring had come. Everything was covered with flowers, even to the blossoming hedges. Here, spring was looking after its own business and preaching down from a little apple tree from which hung a single branch, fresh and blooming, covered with delicate pink blossoms that were just about to open. The branch knew very well how beautiful it was, for that knowledge lies in the leaf as well as in the flesh. It was therefore not surprised when a nobleman's carriage stopped before it, and the young countess said that an apple branch was the loveliest thing that could be seen, and that it was spring itself in the most beautiful form. The branch was broken off, and taking it in her delicate hand, she held it in the shadow of her silk parasol. Then they drove to the castle, in which there were lofty halls of splendid rooms. Pure white curtains fluttered in front of open windows, and beautiful flowers stood in shining, transparent vases. In one of these, which looked as if it had been made of fresh fallen snow, the apple branch was placed between fresh light beech twigs. It was a pleasure to look at. Then the branch became proud, and that is quite human. People of different kinds came through the rooms, and according to their rank, they were allowed to express their admiration. Some said nothing, others again too much, and the apple branch soon understood that there was a difference between the different things that grew. Some are for ornament, and some are for giving nourishment. There are even some one could do without altogether, thought the apple branch, and as it stood just before the open window, whence it could see into the garden and across the field, it had flowers and plants enough to look at and think about, for there were rich ones and poor ones, some most miserable things too. Poor despised herbs, said the apple branch. There is indeed a difference. How unhappy they must be. If that kind can feel like I and my equals do, there is indeed a difference. But that must be so, else they would all be alike. And the apple branch looked with a sort of pity upon a particular kind of flower, which grew in great numbers in the fields and ditches. No one made nosegays of them. They were much too common. Indeed, they could be found even in between the paving stones. They sprang up like the worst kind of weeds and had an ugly name of dog flower or dandelion. Poor despised plant, said the apple branch. It is not your fault that you are given the ugly name that you bear, but it is with plants as with men. There must be a difference. Difference, said the sunbeam, kissing the blossoming apple branch, but also kissing the yellow dog flower out in the fields. All the brothers of the sunbeam kissed them, the poor flowers as well as the rich. The apple branch had never thought about heaven's boundless love for all that lives and is sustained by it, nor had it thought about how many beautiful good things may lie hidden, though not forgotten, but that too was human. The sunbeam, the ray of light, knew this better. You don't see far, you don't see clearly. What is the despised plant that you were just pitying? The dog flower, said the apple branch. It is never made into a nosegay and is trodden underfoot. There are too many of them, and when they run to seed, they fly like bits of wool along the roads and hang on to people's clothes. It is only a weed, but there must be weeds too. I am really very thankful that I was not made one of those flowers. Across the fields there came a troop of children. The youngest of them was still so small that he was carried by the others. When he was placed among the yellow flowers in the ditch, he laughed aloud for joy, kicked his little legs about, and rolling over and over, plucked only the yellow flowers, kissing them in his sweet innocence. The elder children pulled the flowers from off the tall stalks, and bending the stalks around, stuck the ends into one another so that, link by link, a chain was made. First one for their neck, then one to hang around their shoulders and waist, and then one to make fast on their breast and head, quite a wealth of green links and chains. But the eldest of all carefully took the full-blown flowers by the stalks, on which hung the feathery crown formed by the seeds. This loose, airy wool flower, which is a real work of art, looking as though made of the finest feathers, fleece, or down. They held to their mouths and tried to blow off with one breath. Their grandmother had told them that whoever could do that would get new clothes before the year was out. On such occasions, the despised flower became quite a prophet. "Do you see," said the sunbeam. "Do you see its beauty? Do you see its power?" "Yes, over children," answered the apple branch. An old woman then came into the field, and, digging with the blunt blade of a knife round the roots of the plant, pulled them up. With some of them, she was going to make tea for herself, and for the others she would get some money by selling them to the chemist. "But beauty is something higher," said the apple branch. "Only the chosen ones enter the kingdom of the beautiful. There is a big difference between plants, just as there is a big difference between human beings." The sunbeam spoke of the boundless love of heaven as revealed in creation of all living beings and of the equal distribution of all things in time and eternity. "Yes, but that is only your opinion," said the apple branch. Some people now came into the room, and the beautiful young countess appeared, she who had placed the apple branch in the transparent vase where it was bathed in sunlight. She was carrying a flower, or whatever else the object might be that she had wrapped in 3 or 4 large leaves. These served as a shield, so that neither a draught nor gust of wind should injure it. And it was carried with such care as had never been bestowed upon the apple branch. The large leaves were carefully removed, and the delicate feathery seed crown of the despised yellow dandelion appeared. It was this that she had plucked so carefully and carried with every precaution, so that not one of the loose, delicate, feathery darts, which make up its own downy form, should be blown away. She had brought it home uninjured, and admired its beautiful shape and its airy brightness, its own peculiar construction, and its beauty, which was to be borne away by the wind. "Do you see how wonderfully sweet heaven has formed it?" she said. "I will paint it together with the apple branch, which all think so extremely beautiful. But this poor flower has received quite as much from kind Providence in another way. However different they may be, they are still both children in the kingdom of beauty." The sunbeam kissed the lowly flower in the blossoming apple branch, the leaves of which seemed to blush in the act. The end.